Hello and welcome to a new episode of Airport CEO here on BongoPlanes, where our focus today will be mainly on the departure hall of Terminal 3, the perhaps most dominant building of Copenhagen Airport. And we really have neglected it so far, so we need to take a look at that and see how we can improve it and perhaps even finish it. As always, before we get too far into today's video, if you should end up enjoying this episode, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. So what is the focus today on? Well, as I mentioned, it is the departure hall of Terminal 3, and I said that this is perhaps the most dominant building of Terminal 3, or actually the entire Copenhagen Airport. And why is that? Well, it is this elongated triangle. We have looked at it before, and we have already started the construction of it. But there are a few things that make this building special. There are a few things that make this building a little bit stupid, to be honest, at least from an airport design. And there are some things where we can replicate it, and there are some things where we really can't replicate it, or at least have to compromise. But let me try to explain as fast as I can what our challenges are by taking a look at a picture of the interior of this elongated triangle. See, what we see here is, the arrival or departure hall, because it is kind of both. In the center, you actually have the security exit. So that's where people are arriving to Copenhagen Airport. But then they're coming into this massive hall, which is the departure hall, because on the sides and in the center, you have the check-in areas. Then on the first floor level, towards the back of the image, where we are standing at the moment, that is where you then would go up to the security checks that we have already constructed. But then you can see on the sides you have, the ground floor level with check-in, and then on first floor level, on the left side you actually have some offices. On the right side you have some restaurants. Now we can't make an open plan, open floor building like that, because when we add a level to a building, it's kind of solid. There's no way of leaving something open like we have it here. So that's where we definitely need to compromise. Alright, but now you know what it is we are trying to recreate and why we can't do it. But there are elements, of course, that we can recreate, and there are things that I just want to do anyways. So we have this whole first floor level here, where we have loads of space, and we haven't used that so far. Now, as I mentioned, in the real airport building on first floor level, you would, among other things, have restaurants. And that's gonna be a focus. But I want to add also some offices. But actually, I want to add another level, so a second floor level here. And that is then where I would like to have the administration. The administration of the airport, where we would have some fairly detailed offices for example, the CEO and all the other board members. But that will be something for another episode, because for today I would like to focus on the ground floor level and the first floor level. Now, once again, I have a few challenges, because I know that on first floor level there are restaurants. In my memory, we've seen it in image, there was a fast food restaurant, but in my memory there are more restaurants up there, but I'm not entirely sure, because it's been a while since I've been at the airport, for obvious reasons, I guess. But anyway, in my memory, I do believe that there are more than just this one fast food restaurant up there. So we're gonna add a few restaurants up here. In fact, we have space for 3. I mean, we could even add even more, but I also don't want to overload it, because I guess there will be a challenge actually keeping these restaurants open. With the new contract system, obviously, you can create a shop or a restaurant, and you can assign it to a company. And that company will now obviously keep it running. In earlier versions of the game, when a company signed a contract, they would only have that contract for a limited amount of time, and when the time ran out, regardless of how the shop would be doing, they would basically move out and you would have to sign a new contract. Luckily, the game developers changed that during the development of this game. So now the contract system works that, or it's been a while now that it's been working like this, but the way the contract system works is that, well, you sign a contract, and if the company that has signed the contract makes good business, so basically earns money, they will stay. And I mean, that does make a lot more sense than what we had before in the game. But I do not expect this area to be really overrun with people, let's say it like this. So I think there might be some challenges actually keeping these restaurants opened. But since we have restaurants up there, I want to have restaurants up there. So we're going to attempt to see, hopefully people will go up there, but there are no guarantees. So the next challenge we have is at ground floor level. Because when I am at the airport in real life, the feeling I get at this part of the airport is always that there's a lot of space. Maybe not so surprising how, given how open it all is, how tall everything is, and I guess that's also what the building should predict towards passengers. But at the same time, and that's kind of contradicting all that, for me it always feels cramped as well. And that's of course because it is both the departure and arrival hall, which rarely is a good combination to have that all in one place. But it then gets even worse because of the way this part of the airport is designed, because it is an elongated triangle, which means at one end it gets more and more narrow. And that's of course then towards the end where you have all the connections towards the city. So all public transport, any taxis, parking spaces, all that stuff. But of course then on the other end you have a rather wide building, but that's then where you have both the check-in area and the arrival area. So again, two areas where you have a lot of people and well, their pathways are kind of crossing each other. So this part of the airport has always fascinated me because it looks stunning. And in many ways it is really interesting airport architecture. And at the same time it is probably some of the worst airport architecture you could think of, because it has all the things you don't want to have combined in one building. And this is of course what I try to recreate here. So even though we have a rather large building, it will end up being perhaps a little bit cramped. But obviously we do also still have an eye on our chase for the 5-star rating. So we also need to make sure that we are not completely screwing ourselves over here. So we are of course adding a few shops here. Even though there might just be some small shops, we know that shops even before security checks are very popular with passengers. So we definitely want to add that. One thing I have also noticed, and it's this is again, we are trying to replicate the airport, which gives us problems in the game, because one thing I know is that passengers want to sit down, and so far we really haven't added many areas where they can do that other than at the gates. So you can see I'm adding quite a few seating arrangements here, some benches across this terminal. This does not look like this, or this feature is not present at the real Copenhagen Airport Terminal 3. But we need to have it because passengers want to have the ability to sit down and rest. Actually, something I've said many times about the real airport in Copenhagen Airport, that this is a feature that really is missing. There is no decent place where people can rest when they're still waiting for the announcement of their gate, or if they're waiting for check-in. There's just nowhere you can go other than into a restaurant or something, but then you're expected to spend money. Perhaps that's the strategy of the airport, but yeah. So we kind of have the same issue here now, because we've built the airport, or tried to build the airport like the real airport. So we haven't really added any places where passengers can just rest when they are waiting for something to happen. So we have added quite a bit of that here now. That's of course contradicting the real airport, but we need to make these compromises throughout this airport, or throughout this construction, because otherwise we will never get anywhere near this 5-star rating. And this is a totally unqualified guess, but I am fairly confident that we're actually not that far away from it. I have off camera been looking quite a lot into the ratings, and we don't seem to have many issues. The only complaint that I realistically could see from passengers would, for example, be that they couldn't sit down, other than at the gates, because bathrooms and stuff like that we have quite a lot of, but also not enough of. Because, for example, here in this entire departure hall we have not a single bathroom, so of course we need to fix that. We don't really have space on ground floor level. We could maybe add something on first floor level, but I was thinking maybe we should just put it underneath, because I do actually think that they have solved it like this as well in the real airport. At least at parts of the airport they've done it like this. I know for certain that they have done it like this over at Terminal 2. So we will adopt this strategy over here as well. But yeah, as I've said, I've been looking a lot into the statistics of the game here to see where our issues are. And I think I will go more into detail about that in the next episode, because I've also made a detailed list over airlines at what parts of the airport they are operating from. And I have rearranged all our lounges according to that. And I think it is worth going through, because I also identified an issue thanks to looking at the statistics, so the feedback that the game has given. It took me a while to figure out what the issue was, but I do believe that I have figured it out now and have solved it. But we will go into that next time on Airport CEO, because today we're just focusing here on the construction. We have enough to do with that. But yeah, my original point was that I actually do believe that we are running quite smoothly here at the airport. So most of our ratings are actually quite good. So there can't be much missing for us to get that 5-star rating that we've been chasing for so long. At least I can't see much more that we need to improve upon. So hopefully we will soon get there. But as I said, a detailed look at these statistics and the feedback the game is giving, we will do in the next episode of Airport CEO. There's one more thing I would like to do before we end today's episode, and that is actually over at the maintenance area. And I guess I'm not the only one who has felt that our maintenance area is a bit too cramped. But I didn't really see any way out of that until now. I kind of known about this feature for a long time, but I never tried it out, so I wasn't really sure if it was just a figment of my imagination or some comment that was trolling me. But the vehicle depots you can just build underground, so there's no reason to waste a lot of space on ground floor level with that if you can just add it underneath. And one of the reasons our maintenance area is so cramped is because we needed the space for quite a few vehicle depots, because we have quite a lot of GC. So since we can just add it underneath, we could just remove quite a lot of these vehicle depots that are overground. That will give us space, so we can maybe not extend it hugely, but at least make it a little less cramped over here. And I think that it is worth at least trying out. So I'm just quickly going to zone these in so that the game knows that these now belong to Terminal 3. And then we're just going to remove all that. Obviously, this might give us a bit of a queue now, because we have all this GC that now needs to find a new place to stay. So this could give us a little bit of issues with the operations for now, but this will solve itself rather quickly. And then I think it would also be wise to not just have one access point. This could also be a good thing for us, actually, to add a few tunnels here from where GC can then access this area where we have all these vehicle depots. I'm pretty sure that the game won't be using it right now, or at least much of the GC that has been evicted won't go to these tunnels right away. because normally the game, if it has established a path, it will take that path even if you have built a new one until it's completed its task, and then it will kind of recognize that there are new ways of doing things. But that is I think all we can do for today. Next time, as I said, I want to go through some of the statistics of the game to really see where our really core issues are, try to identify them and fix them if at all possible. And of course, we still have much more constructing to do. We do still have Terminal 1 that we at some point need to tackle. And then I think we are coming towards the end of this series. Interest has been great, but it does seem to fade out a little bit now. So we want also to wrap up this season at some point and then see if we will make a 5th season or not. But that's all for the future. For now, I would like to say thank you very much for watching. It has been a huge pleasure having you here once again. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. Of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.